Hey there, today I'd like to take a casual peek into the Marvel Legends Infinite series Deadliest Foes action figure set from Hasbro. The Deadliest Foes set was a timed split variant release and contained one of two figures in the set, either the Ultimate Beetle, which we have here, or the Boomerang figure. And the Deadliest Foes set was part of the Build-A-Figure collection of the Green Goblin, which was a Spider-Man themed wave and contained the Build-A-Figure of Green Goblin, or the ultimate version of Green Goblin. The set was first available towards the end of 2013 and sold at retailers for about $15 to $20. And I got this set in the beginning of 2014 when I saw it at a Toys R Us, and I paid $20 for this set. Taking a closer peek at the Deadliest Foes set here, and the one containing the Ultimate Beetle, and you could see the figure here, and it's a very interesting design, much different than the standard armored Beetle in the Marvel Universe, I believe the 616 universe, the classic one I'd like to say, of the purple and green armored Beetle. But this one here is of course silver and red, and you can see that the figure contains an accessory piece as well as the Build-A-Figure piece here of the Ultimate Green Goblin's left leg. Pretty cool. On the side of the package you have a nice graphic of Spider-Man there, and on the other side it's basically the same image but split mirrored type image there. At the top of the box you can see that the figure set here is part of the Green Goblin Build-A-Figure collection, and over here you can see the logo for Spider-Man, since this is a Spider-Man themed wave. And I believe this Spider-Man logo is from the Amazing Spider-Man movie and the second movie. And here you can see, again, Marvel Spider-Man. This one being a comic-based character. It doesn't have the Spider-Man 2 movie logo, although you have the logo up here. And down here you have just barcode and print information there. On the back of the package here, we have the Marvel Legends Infinite series logo there, and the Spider-Man logo there, and you have a very brief description of Deadliest Foes. Doesn't even specify the actual character in the box, and that's because they're probably Hasbro is going to release both of these figures using the same box, so they don't want to get too specific on the name on there, otherwise they'd have to print an additional set of packaging materials, just one for each type of character. And speaking of the characters, we have the two characters from the Deadliest Foes split variant release wave. You have the Beetle here on the left and Boomerang here on the right. Pretty neat. And at the bottom of the packaging here, we have some of the other figures in this Spider-Man themed wave of the Ultimate Green Goblin. We have the Build-A-Figure here, and with the numbers according to the set that the parts belong to. And you can see here the roster of figures that are in this particular wave. The first one here is another split variant release called Spawn of Symbiotes, and you either have Carnage, I believe, at the top and Toxin at the bottom here, and that contains the head of the Build-A-Figure. And the second one is Marvel's Electro, which is based off of the Amazing Spider-Man 2 movie, and that contains the left arm. Then you have the Amazing Spider-Man, which is another movie-released figure, and that contains the right arm. And you have yet another split variant release here called Skyline Sirens, and that contains either Black Cat, or I believe this is Arana, or Spider-Woman, I'm not sure. And that contains the torso of the Green Goblin. And then, of course, we have Deadliest Foes containing Beetle or Boomerang with the left leg. And then the last figure in this Build-A-Figure collection is Superior Spider-Man, which contains the right leg of Ultimate Green Goblin. Now we'll be right back and have the Beetle here, or the Ultimate version of the Beetle, out of the packaging. We have the Beetle here out of the packaging. And before we take a look at the figure, we're going to go ahead and take a look at the Build-A-Figure part that came included with the Beetle. And that's the left leg of the Green Goblin, or the Ultimate Green Goblin. And if this piece here, or part, looks vaguely familiar, that's because it is a little bit familiar, in that it was seen on a figure that was previously released, and that was the movie Avengers Hulk figure. And the Build-A-Figure Green Goblin shares many parts with the Avengers Hulk, and one of those parts is leg. And you can see here that this leg has some ripped and torn pants, and this one here is painted blue, and I believe the one that came with the movie Avengers Hulk was a brownish colored paint on the pants, and it's pretty much the exact same leg, and the only thing that's different is the foot. And the foot here is, I believe, a brand new sculpt for the Green Goblin. And it has some really nice detail going on with it. A lot of bumpy texture, a lot of veins pop in there, and it's actually pretty neat. Now, the shade of paint that's used for the Green Goblin is different from the Hulk, in that this one here, I believe, is a darker green. And here, so it's not entirely the same, but it shares the majority of the sculpt with the movie Avengers Hulk. But a nice Build-A-Figure part, nice reuse of part to create a new character figure. So, but that's the Build-A-Figure part that's included with the Beetle. Now, taking a look at the Beetle itself, and I believe that the majority of folks who regard the wave, the Build-A-Figure wave of the Green Goblin, regard the Beetle as the least liked out of the other figures. And I shared that view when I had first seen pictures of it online, and when I picked it up at Toys R Us. And my tune kind of changed once I got this guy out of the package. Once out of the package, he's actually a totally different animal, or a totally different figure than what you see in the packaging. And I really had a lot of fun playing around with this figure, posing the figure and stuff. And it's actually grown on me. It's one of those figures that just doesn't look as good, but once you have it in hand, out of the package, it just really grows on you. Maybe it's just me, I don't know. Maybe other folks still don't like the figure, or not like the figure, but like the figure the least out of the wave. But I really dig this particular figure. I don't know much about the character itself. Actually, I don't know anything about the character. I don't read the Ultimate versions of comics, of Marvel Comics, and so my reference to the Beetle, of course, is the classic Beetle, or the 616 Beetle, which is the green and purple Beetle. But this one here is, of course, red and silver, and is actually really cool in hand, in a quirky type of way. He actually reminds me a lot of one of my favorite figures in the DC lineup, and that's the Killer Moth. They're both bugs, are based off of bugs, But this particular figure in the Marvel lineup is just really ultra cool, I think, in an odd sort of way. Great posability on this. You can get in some really neat poses with this figure, and I just really dig it. I think one of the things that people have an issue with this particular paint, this Beetle, is the paint. Mine figure is not perfect with the paint as well. There are some slips and misses of the paint, but overall I think I got a figure that was painted pretty decently. And the paint used on this is actually quite cool, quite neat. And we're just going to go ahead and take a closer peek at the Beetle here, starting off with the head sculpt. It has a very bug-like appearance, and it is very cool, I think. Lots of detail on the sculpt on here, especially in the mouth area, I guess the mask type area, and then you have the yellow bug-like eyes there, very bulbous looking eyes. It looks like maybe two sets of eyes on there, which is pretty cool and pretty neat. And then of course you got the horns or antenna of this particular figure, and it's actually pretty neat. And just really dig the sculpt on that, and it's very, very nice. And mine seems to be decently painted on the head area, not too bad on the paint. I could see issues with misalignment the paint in the eyes, but mine are pretty decent. The only thing that really is an issue is a little bit of spillover of the silver into the red area in this point near the forehead area, where it does spill over a little bit, but nothing too major on there. And it's just really, really cool. And the antenna here is made of a softer plastic. See, you can bend it here and there, but looks like my particular figure in the package, they line up quite nicely, so I don't have to apply anything to bend these antennae into a proper position. They seem to be all right, fixed already. And moving down here, we have the armor of the Beetle, and I think it's really, really cool. I've seen pictures of the Ultimate Beetle online. There doesn't seem to be too many. But it seems to get most of it correct, especially the bulbous areas around the main torso and shoulder area. And it's actually kind of neat, and I really dig it. And the paint of silver here is, I think, really, really nice. It's got a very metallic sheen to it, and nice uniform color. A lot of times when you paint over the color red, like here underneath, if you don't apply enough silver or light colored paint, yellow or silver or white, you tend to see through the paint, and you can see underneath with the red. Red is a bit harder to paint over, and with this nice, I think a really thicker application of silver, it does the job really well, and it makes it look really, really cool. And the figure is cast in this red color glossy type of plastic, and you can see the sculpt underneath. It looks like what banded armor type sculpt on there, and it's actually pretty neat. So very nice. Not too much paint slop on the torso area, though. Really, the only paint slop I could see on the upper area half of the figure is some splotches of silver here. It's very tiny, and it's something I can probably scratch off later on. But taking a look further down, you got the arms. It looks like he has a pair of blaster cannons on the arms, which is pretty neat. And it's got some nice sculpting going here. I believe a lot of this figure is newly sculpted and not too much reuse. And I don't think I've seen the arms being reused before. So I think this is a brand new sculpt on the arm, and it's actually pretty neat. And I dig it quite a bit. And you could see the blasters at the end of the tips of the blasters painted in yellow. And then you have some other areas painted in yellow here. And there is a little bit of paint slop of yellow here. I was able to scratch off with my fingernail earlier on. And I'll probably entirely remove that paint slop with a nice pointed, sharp pointed utility to be able to take off the rest of that paint. So that'll be fixed. But pretty cool, and even the details on the hands right here, nicely sculpted on there. I think that's really cool. I believe this is brand new, and it's not it's sculpted into what looks like it could be you could use some accessories to insert into the hand later on, or just if you find any other accessories. It didn't come with any other accessories other than the wings. So, but it's not entirely closed fist on either hand. So if any future reuse of this hand where it allows you to give a weapon accessory, that's kind of cool. And it looks good enough to be a closed fist from different angles too, so that's kind of neat. Moving down here on the figure, you can see more of that armor sculpting going on at the waist, more of that bulbous type of sculpting going on to add to the bug-like nature of the figure. Very cool, very nice, and again, nice application of paint here. And moving down to the legs, you have that combination of armor of banded mail armor and this sort of plate type mail going on top of that. And here is another indication of paint slop, but it's not too bad. You can see on this leg how it is painted on the edge of the articulation point, but this one here is painted a little lower than the edge there. You can see it as I move it there. So that's a bit of a miss there, but overall it's not too noticeable unless you really, really look at it. And just overall, I think I lucked out on a nicely painted figure here. A little bit bleeding into the red here, but not too bad. So, and just a very nice sculpt. I really like the sculpt on this, especially with all of these little rounded areas on the figure. It just makes it a more unique figure. Moving down to the lower legs here, you got again that nice combination of the sculpt of banded armor and plate type armor. Very cool, very nice flowing lines actually. If you look at it overall in detail, nice curves along the sculpt of this figure. It's actually pretty neat on there. And then you have these feet that are pronged feet, two-toed on the front, and I guess, I don't know if you can call that a prong of the heel, but it's an extended heel area. But it makes it appear to be a three-toed type foot, and seems to be very stable because of the very flat nature of the bottom of the foot there. So it gets a lot of stability with the posing on the figure on a surface. So that's very, very nice. And then you have some of that sculpting detail here as well going on. So pretty cool, pretty neat figure. I really dug the design aesthetic of this figure. And actually prompts me to want to look at this figure or this character in the comics, because at this point I don't know anything about the Beetle in the Ultimate Universe. But continuing here, we have the one accessory that's included with the Beetle, and it's a pair of wings. And I don't know if this acts as sort of a jetpack or actual wings, flapping type wings. Again, I don't know much about the character, but I will pretty soon. But it's very, very nice, actually. You have this sculpt of bug-like wings, and you can see some sculpting detail on the back of the wings, as well as on the bottom end of the wings. And it's a nicely sculpted. You got, again, more of the curved design aesthetic. Actually, pretty neat. And what I really like is the paint application underneath of these wings. You have a gradient shift of green to yellow, or greenish yellow, on here, and it's actually very nice. This here is actually a very dark green. May not show up on the video as that, but it is a very dark green with red in the center here, and it just does a gradient shift to a yellowish green type color here, and it's very nicely done, and I really like it. And it's very, very nice. And you have that again, that metallic silver like on the back there. And to apply the wings onto the figure, there's a peg hole in the back of the figure, and then you just peg it in. And I do have an issue with this in that it doesn't seem to fit very well. I don't know if it's just my figure or if this is a standard thing with all of the other Beetle figures. But yeah, I had to really push this in. I think the peg was just a little bit bigger than the peg hole, and it was a very tight fit. But after several attempts of plugging it in and taking it out, I seem to have gotten it to fit, to form fit with the back of the figure there. And this is the Beetle with the wings. Now, I don't know if the wings are detachable with the character in the comics. I'm going to have to find out when I read it. But it's detachable here with the figure. And with the wings on, it doesn't impede too much of the articulation of the figure, which is nice. And we're going to go ahead and take a look at the articulation of the Beetle here. And starting with the head, it's on a bald hinge joint at the neck. This allows the Beetle's head to move upwards quite a bit, which is really good for flying poses. And it does go down quite a bit as well, and does go all the way around, and does tilt side to side because of that ball joint. So you can get a nice variety of poses with the head, especially looking up. And it's just very, very good articulation looking upwards there. So that's really, really nice. The arms on this figure can go all the way around, even with the wings, although it does impede it just a little bit, but not too much. And it does go out to the side horizontally very well, even with the rounded areas of the arm there. But the joints on this figure are very stiff and seem to be on a ratchet type of joint. And it just you got to be careful not to bend the lower arm too much, since it's a little stiff on the articulation on the shoulder. And continuing with the articulation at the arm, it can go all the way around at the bicep, and there's double hinge joints at the elbow, so you can bend the arms inwards about that much and extend it out that far. And the hands at the wrist can go all the way around, as well as in and out, so that's nice. And the torso can bend downwards quite a bit and up, and does not really go back at all, and that's not due to the wings. If you pop off the wings, the figure does not go back at all very much, so if at all. So that's about as far back as it goes, so which is unfortunate. So I don't know if that was designed purposely because of the wings or not, but let me plug this guy back in. And the figure at the waist can go all the way around, and the legs at the hip are on a bald socketed joint, so you can bend the legs upwards about that much, bend it down and back about that much. And the legs don't go out as much as I'd like, which is unfortunate, but they go about that far apart, but that's pretty decent. And the legs at the thigh can go all the way around, and there's double hinges at the knees, so you can bend the knees, the leg of the figure about this far back and this far forward. And the feet are on that hinged socketed joint that or peg joint that provides nice range of movement at the ankle, in that you can bend the foot upwards about that much, and you can bend it downwards about that much, even with the sculpt of the heel, two parts of the heel on the leg there. It still can go downwards pretty far. And then for the swivel joint at the peg, you can swivel the foot all the way around and provide different angles of ankle pivot there, so which is very, very nice. So overall, this is a figure I really like. It has become one of my more favorite figures in the wave, even though it didn't start out that way. And it's just got that quirky like look to it, a unique look to it, and great posability of this figure that really has caught my attention. And I really dig this figure. This is my casual peek into the Marvel Legends Infinite series Deadliest Foes Beetle figure. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.